Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Biz Dev Live. Again, welcome to Biz Dev Live. My name is Cameron Toth, Monday through Friday, coming to you live with the Biz Dev Live help for entrepreneurs and business owners. Today, we're going to be talking about tools for entrepreneurs, if I can get that word out of my mouth, and how you can set yourself up for success with some really great tools on your desktop. I'm going to talk a little bit about hardware and just the desk and as well. I'd love to know what you're using software wise. What are, office hacks? I'm coming to you from a standing desk. I'm using a power MacBook that it's controlling 3 screens so that I can do some of this video stuff. I have a Logic Pro HD 1080 camera, but I'm going to get into the nitty gritty, right? So things that I'm using to stream this show are StreamYard, and I'm using something called app, which allows me to do some funky stuff with my background in terms of showing you things like this. I can make myself disappear. I can make myself small. But this is all technical stuff towards the world of streaming. We're going to talk about some of the tools to actually get the work of doing business that I use to not only create the show, but marketing for my business, Toth Event Staffing, and marketing for the show, as well as tracking social media, all those good pieces. How do I actually get cash into my businesses using QuickBooks, all those kind of things. Definitely want to hear about who's tuning in, where you're tuning in from, what kind of tools you're using. And I want your questions. If there's something that you're trying to figure out a solution for, I probably either know the solution myself or I know somebody that probably has a really great solution for you. So we're going to get into all that and more right after the Biz Dev theme.
Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T.
So we are talking about tools for entrepreneurs today. Josiane, thanks for tuning in. I see you there. Thanks you. If you're tuning in on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn Live, YouTube, please drop your questions, your comments in. Want to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from? Always enjoy hearing that stuff. If you have questions, really want to get those. The more specific your question, the more I know that I can provide some guidance that can help. And there might be something where I need to learn more about it. And so looking forward to get into it. Carnell, thanks for joining in and tagging folks. Appreciate you. And Josiane, I'd love to talk to you, Cameron, regarding business. All right, back to it here. So tools for entrepreneurship, right? So there's several things that I use on a daily basis. I'm going to share my screen here and show you what I'm looking at. But I want to talk about the Google Suite because I think this is something that for those that know, right? If you know about the Google Suite, then you probably use it all the time, but you probably don't know all the different things that are out there. And so I'm literally discovering new things every day. And I think one of the cool things about the Google Suite, and one of the reasons I'm an Android guy, one of the things that's been exciting about Clubhouse, I bought an iPad to get onto Clubhouse back in early part of the year to take advantage of the social media land grab that's on Clubhouse. But I use an Android, and the reason I'm not switching to an Apple phone is because I really take advantage of the Google Suite. There's things that are accessible, really easy to use, low cost. I find a lot of Apple products, the iStore, It's definitely more of a high-end monetized game. And for me as an entrepreneur, I'm trying to keep costs low. Unfortunately, I don't have, $1 million budgets to take advantage of, at least not yet, right? So as we're building there and we're trying to get to uh, higher levels and really work small, be able to maneuver quickly. We want to keep our costs low. From Jim Spellis, go to a browser and type slides.new into the address bar. All right. Thank you for that, John. I'll have to try that. Uh, I sold my business after 40 years. How to start a new business now? Any suggestions? So for folks helping out, talk to Josiane, network her in the comments. She's been in the catering business for a long time. John says, congratulations, Josiane. I think there's a lot of different ways right now to start new businesses, but there's 1,000 different directions you can go. But if you're starting a new business, really working smarter, not harder, having some different tools at your fingertips is going to be really important. So I'm going to show off a few things that I use. So the Google Suite here is really a big deal, right? So I use Google Drive. Let me see if I can pull up Google Workspace. So Google Contacts is, people talk about CRM, and I've messed with these systems, and you can get into a lot of fancy places. There's so many different CRM tools that really, I know, have so many different functions and everything. But if you're keeping it simple and you simply need to be able to call up a person and know what's going on with them, not talking about super amounts of automation and really, things like, I'm going to mess up the name here, but there's some automation tools. I want to say Zigzag or Zip or something like that. But there's a whole lot of tools out there that allow for automation. If you're simply looking for the ability to call somebody up and find notes, and I write down a lot of notes in meetings and I transpose those into Google Contacts, really works well. I can get into Google Contacts from my computer, from my phone, saves the notes, really works well. Years ago when I was getting my first Google Android phone and the ability to change phones and have all my contacts come into that new phone, it was life-changing, and been a fan ever since. And so the Google Suite, whether it's Photos, Drive, if people are using Dropbox to me is clunky. Using Google Photos, that's where I keep all my photos, and I can sort and I can search. The power of Google is that you can actually find things, and so this is why I'm going to be Zapier. Thanks, John. That's what I was trying to say. So Zapier for all, it's over my head, right? There's certain tools that are over my head, but I can easily explain to somebody how to use a lot of the tools like Google Drive, Google Photos. They're very user friendly. Not a big hard thing. It's not a hard hill to climb in order to figure out how to learn these things. And not only can you use them on the desktop, but you can use them on your phone. And so having that ability, because your phone is one of the best cameras, being able to upload tools very easily, upload photos for all the different things that you're doing. And if you're working in just about any kind of business that has front-facing things, products, services, for me in the hospitality business, there's so many visual components to it. And for marketing purposes, for clients to be able to see things, for you to visually reference things, your camera is one of the best tools. So having Google Photos, having that all go to one place, having it searchable, and even some of the things where I don't know how many folks that are watching today ever went through and tried to categorize different photos or files, but having Google constantly working, and I can actually search things like birthday cake, and a whole bunch of pictures of birthday cake will come up from my photos without ever having to label a photo birthday cake. So you just talk about very, very, very cool science, AI, all at your fingertips, little to no cost. Really what I pay Google for is some extra storage, because I do have so many photos and files on the infrastructure that I spend probably something along the lines of $199 to $999 a month. I also pay for premium YouTube so that I don't have to watch commercials, because again, in that Google Suite, I definitely would consider YouTube one of those tools that, when I need to learn how to do something, Google, YouTube, those are great places for me to go as a resource. They are the new encyclopedia, right? Cloud storage, Dropbox, get rid of that service, right? If you're messing with that, you have Drive, you have all your stuff in one place. You're not in file folders. You can search, really easy to find things. If you're like me, you create files, and you forget you even had them. But hey, I need to reference something on this. I've gotten a little bit smarter about how I label things and how I document within a document to make sure that it's friendly to me in terms of how I search for things later. But I think about Josie Ann, who's watching today, and the big wedding books filled with stuff. You can really get a lot down into a digital file, and that can be accessible from your phone. Working with teams, there's ways to work around having to have a lot of corporate, very expensive accounts. But at the end of the day, having a tool that's accessible from everywhere works really well with just about any kind of mobile device is really, really, really handy. I'm not getting paid to promote Google products or anything. I just use them a lot. So even just something like a Google Notes app. So if you have Keep, Keep, Keep on your phone, taking notes, you can actually go and then bring that up on your browser through your Google account, and you can copy and paste from those notes that you took while you were on the phone in the car, stopped on the side of the road to take a client call. It just makes things easy. I use Google Sheets. I use Excel, and I'm sure for folks that are starting business, trying to get into things, you want to use Excel, especially if you do anything high-level accounting, functions. I find some and different things that aren't simple on Excel or that just basically aren't available on Google Sheets. But things like the simpler things are available on Google Sheets. And so I use Google Sheets for the same reason I use Google Docs and Photos, is because it's just easy. It's all searchable. It's available at my fingertips. There's files and things that come in. So I have an iMac, and Microsoft isn't exactly friendly. Later iterations, updated software, Microsoft opens a lot easier on this computer that I bought in 2020 than the computer I had before it that was from 2011. So like most things, technology updates itself, but I find Microsoft Office definitely something that's still relevant. Still, people transfer files, and it's just easier to have that software on my hard desk. So hard desktop computer, right? I actually have a MacBook that controls these three screens I'm looking at right now. But having those two pieces of software that work together. As you download email lists, you can see this is a sheet where I track all my social media. I'll be talking more about this tomorrow, but there's an actual sheet that I use to track my social media numbers, just really simple. And I'll be doing a video on that tomorrow and going deep in this, but just finding simple ways to track your data, have your metrics. There's lots of different systems that promise to do it for you, but I find the ease of the work, if you're actually going to do something, what gets measured gets done, right? This is Canva. I did a whole video on this yesterday. I think Carnell's tuning in. You were here yesterday. John, you might have been seeing this as well, but Canva is just amazing. I use it on a daily basis. I've gotten really comfortable with it. I think it's very easy to get comfortable with. You can pull things out of. It's great for marketing. So definitely check out Canva. Again, none of this is paid advertising. The theme song for today's show, the BizDev theme song, the music was created by an artist that I found on Fiverr. Find somebody that's of the flavor that you like and go to Fiverr.com and get some of those big, heavy projects that are outside of your creative abilities and get it done. Anything that you need to get off your plate, both creatively, maybe from a data standpoint, you need somebody to go and check out your website. Lots of vendors all over the place. Especially if you don't know them, there can be a very steep cost to get in the door. And what Fiverr provides, it may not be the top of the top. You may not get the relationship that you're looking for in a local vendor, but you can start getting into some areas and getting some things done very easily at low cost and get some experience in the door of what you're looking for a relatively low cost. Fiverr, Upwork, those are places to go. You want to keep your costs low, get something done, a project-based piece, go there, spend a little bit of time, and you will get some good results if you put in a little bit of research and are very specific in what you want. John Chen says, one advantage of Google Slides over PowerPoint is that Slides does not stop animations or videos when you click out of the app, valuable for slide sharing during the meeting. Yeah, I absolutely agree, John. It's really interesting how some of these browser-based apps, in terms of functionality in a browser-based world, just makes so much more sense than an app or something that lives off of a browser or isn't optimized for the browser. And so, Google makes Chrome. You can run slides on Chrome. It all just sort of blends and works together. The conversation around Google controlling everything in our world is a whole nother one that I'll let people get political about elsewhere, but it really, really does just work. And I really enjoy both the usability, the ease of use, right? So you're talking about user interface. It's just easy to find. I have used Photoshop in the past, talking about Canva and talking about some different things. And I'd love to hear your comments on, are there things that you're using that you really love using every day? Because I certainly am not a know-it-all when it comes to every piece of software. I just use a few. So that's why I'm talking about them today, and hopeful that, my little bit of knowledge is helpful to folks that haven't been using some of this stuff, and maybe they've been using other things. But as you're getting into it, there's always different pieces of software. Before Canva, I was using background eraser app on the phone. I talked about that yesterday, going through 3 different things. And so Canva has been a solution that took out a few things. I want to talk about QuickBooks too. I've been using QuickBooks since 2013. It's got its problems, it's got its issues, but in terms of invoicing, I deal with businesses sometimes and people sending me an invoice, and I just want to pay the invoice online, get it done. There's not that option there. And there's several different systems. I think FreshBooks, different invoicing software, but QuickBooks keeps it all under one umbrella for me. Do my payments through there. It just makes life easier. It's a one-stop shop for a lot of the accounting and receivables in terms of getting money into the bank account. Just makes life easy. So I really suggest that as well, and happy to talk to anybody, but love to hear people's experiences with other accounting software. Audrey says, thanks for the resources. I may need an actual video for a big client and need to keep my eyes open for a creative team. Yeah, I think, work with people that that are doing things that you like. I think one of the big things that I'm trying to do with BizDev Live and with some of the software and services that I hope to offer in the future is I'm using the opportunity right now as I'm learning and exploring to get comfortable with different photographers, creative agencies, to really find out who I enjoy working with, what to expect, so that down the road, when somebody wants to partner with me for media, for development, I know exactly who to pull in, because they are going to deliver the results that if I promise them to a client, I know that it's going to be a promise kept. Creative teams, it'd be really interesting. Audrey, let me know kind of what you're looking for. Maybe I can point you in a couple of different directions that might be good for you. But again, don't be quiet in the comments. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what apps, what software. I always enjoy, one of my favorite things to watch when I go to a conference is somebody's like top 40 apps, those kind of things. I love them. A little piece of the inspiration of doing this today. I hope it was helpful. I'm sure there's a lot more that I could have talked about that just glanced over and missed. So looking forward to your recommendations and what you say down in the comments there. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, go to YouTube, type in Cameron Toth or BizDev Live. Videos will pop up. Love to see you on the channel again. Tune in tomorrow if you want to hear about social media tracking. Take care. Have an amazing day. And I will see you tomorrow.
BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizDev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T. BizD with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T.